The way to handle boundaries as a man is you don't sit there and beg her to listen to you. You see her own choices and you decide if it is an appropriate selection for you to be with this woman.
You're looking out for somebody that you want, somebody that puts the relationship ahead of the independence. They're willing to give something up to get that.
Yeah.
How do you begin to draw boundaries around that? Like, what is the right amount of submission to the relationship, and at what point does it become controlling or stifling?
Reasonable requests are not controlling. And what I mean by reasonable requests is objectively we can agree, it's not about me, it's not about you, we can agree that this isn't good for the relationship. So objectively it might be the case that, let's say you're going to live abroad for a couple of years or a couple of months, whatever, it's probably not good for the relationship. We can objectively agree on that. And even if it was the other way around, we would both agree. Or objectively we would agree that going out a lot on weekends, drinking alcohol, it's not good for the relationship. So it's when we can both agree that it's not unreasonable. The way to handle boundaries as a man is you don't sit there and beg her to listen to you. And you don't sit there and be like, if you can't do this, you see her own choices and you decide if it is an appropriate selection for you to be with this woman. You don't force her to change. You allow her to live how she wants to live, and then you let her know what you prefer. And give her time, but if she decides this is not how she wants to live, instead of being like, well, we got to do this, you got to listen to me, I'm the man, I'm this, you just say, okay, fair enough, I totally want you to live the life you want, but it's not compatible with the values and boundaries I have. Instead, what they do is they stay there, get really controlling, really aggressive, and be like, you need to listen to me, you need to. But in that moment, she learns you don't have a willingness to walk away. She learns that, and that is something you never want to teach, man or woman. You don't want to teach anybody that you have no willingness to walk away. Instead, what you want to teach them is the relationship means something to you. You want to protect this relationship through boundaries, and you want them to meet you in the middle with that. If they do that, fantastic. If they choose not to, the goal is not to be with you, the goal is to have a good relationship. If you don't want this, we're not going to have a good relationship, so no worries, I wish you the best. The toxicity comes from the inability to walk away.
That's one of those that, it's so simple, but it really is true. As you were talking, I was like, is there really anything other than leaning away from somebody when they do a behavior that you don't like, leaning in when they do a behavior that you do, and having a willingness to walk away? That's sort of the game.
That's the only thing, and it works men and women. It works for men and women. Like, you can sit there and beg your husband to come home on time. You can do all of these things, but the only thing that works is your willingness to walk away. Now, you might say, no, I walked away and they still didn't change. Then that person doesn't want you enough. That's a signal. Instead of begging that person to want you, accept their choices. If they don't want you enough and you still want to be with them, then let them live the life they want. But if you walked away and they didn't change, they don't want the relationship enough. So don't keep using that trick. Learn from that trick that it's not working, so therefore this person doesn't want it enough. Whereas if you pull away and they actually love and appreciate you more, they obviously want this relationship.